All right, we are good to go. John, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
So, John, I would love you to introduce yourself to our viewers. Who are you? Why are you here?
Sure. So I'm John Robertson. I'm the founder of drinkly.co.uk. Why am I here? Because you kindly asked me to be here, and I sit about 10 metres away from you.
Amazing. So we're both based down at Seed House in Leith. Tell me a little bit more about Drinkly. What do you guys do?
Yeah, sure. So Drinkly is essentially Deliveroo for drinks, beers, wines and spirits delivered chilled to your door in 1 hour. And the whole reason for setting up the business is I have worked in the drinks industry for many years, and it's my passion and my knowledge. And for us, there's a massive opportunity within the e-commerce space for drinks. We're trying to create the best mini bar, the world's best mini bar, so that if you're passionate about wine or spirits or liqueurs, we have 650 products all available chilled to your door in 1 hour.
And what locations are you guys currently
So we're currently based in Edinburgh and in Glasgow.
Great stuff. Okay, well, thanks for joining us for a customer interview. This is definitely going to be me asking you a rapid fire series of questions. Estimations are fine. It's just to help us get a sense of where different founders are at on their journey to kind of really inform what we're going to build during this week. So thank you very much for diving into this with me. So I wanted to start with how many people are on your team at Drinkly?
So there's currently 4 of us.
Great. And if you were to describe what space Drinkly we're in, how would you describe it?
So we're firmly technology, but to add to that, we're kind of drinks technology.
Love that, carving out a new field. Okay, so I want you to have a think about day-to-day as a team. So as the team at Drinkly, what kind of SaaS products do you guys pay for to help support the team?
Yeah, so we use things like accountancy SaaS products such as Xero. We use mailing products such as Klaviyo. We have a HubSpot account. We use Shopify.
Yep.
And probably a few others that I can't remember right now.
That's grand. So those are what the team SaaS products might be. If you think of yourself as an individual, as a founder, do you have SaaS products that you pay for your own kind of productivity?
Yeah, definitely. So a big fan of Headspace. I try and use that as much as I can. It helps me just take a bit of time out.
And what's Headspace?
Headspace is a meditation app that allows you to meditate for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 10 minutes, and it's got a nice intro. I think you can trial it for free, which is good. The other things I use personally, so Audible, Blinkist, and I have written something else down. Evernote as well.
Perfect, thanks. Okay, so moving back on to Drinkly then, if you could describe to me a little bit about your journey in terms of Drinkly's funding background so far. Sure. How has that been made up?
So initially what I did was, our business model has been a huge success in the US. We didn't know if it was going to be a success here. So the only way of trialing that out was to just get out there, put an MVP out, and would consumers shop with us? And if they would, could we get them to shop again? And if so, what did they like and what didn't they like? So very, very quickly, just putting a product out there to test if consumers would shop with us. So the way that we ended up raising money initially was entirely bootstrapped. And then fortunately, we were accepted into Seed House, where we are right now, which helped us with £30,000 of investment initially. And with that, it just allowed us to employ a whole lot of freelancers in all kinds of areas that helped the business get to the next level. So we doubled the business with that money. And then since then, we have raised a more significant amount of money that's allowed us to build a proper team to continue to grow the business.
Great. So to summarize, have I understood that was initially bootstrapping it, then backed by an accelerator, so got an amount there, and then the additional money, is that angel investors or was it crowdfunding? How was that made?
Yeah, sure. So the initial money, so bootstrap, accelerator, and then a seed investment amount of money that has come from angel investors and all knowledgeable angel investors that either operate within our space or are technology entrepreneurs in their own right.
Great, so I value individuals.
Definitely.
Great. So if we were to think about your shareholders in Drinkly, a rough estimate is fine, but what number, what amount would you be looking at there?
So I think we've probably got about 12 people on our cap table.
That's fab. And do you know the amount that you've raised to date?
Yes, sure. So about £250,000.
And is that excluding any loans or any grants or other income?
So we have been fortunate enough to receive some backing from various other support bodies. So we maybe raised another £20,000 from those sources.
That's fab. So how often do you keep those shareholders, those 10, 12 people, how often do you keep them up to date?
Very honestly, not enough. I think sometimes just in early stage business, you know, there's always many things to do. Keeping investors updated needs to be more of a priority, but on average, we try and do it once a month.
Yep.
And just getting the key stats out of the business and any major asks.
Yeah, so if you say that once a month on average, that feels like not enough to you, what would feel like enough? What's kind of...
Yeah, sure. No, I think once a month would be ideal. Most of our investors would get an update once a month. I think our wider investor pool I'd like to be in a position where we're updating them all once a month.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Okay, so when you're updating those shareholders, could you walk me through what tools you use, what the process is, and who else maybe in the team is involved in putting together those updates?
Sure. So we're a small team, so everyone's involved in everyone's responsible in our business for a section of that business, and we would ask each individual to provide an update for a monthly board meeting, and the structure of that would be we would allocate, so in our business it's technology, operations, and a marketing element, so we would update on each of those core focuses. We would talk about key successes in a month. We would talk about things that we're finding tough, and we would ask if anyone could help us on key elements. Okay,
so is that tied into the regular meeting of your board? You then prepare an update for the board and it's sent to a wider shareholder group?
Yes, that's right.
And what tools do you use? Are you compiling that on Slack? Are you making a fancy PDF with graphs? Like, is it a dashboard? Like, how does that look?
Yeah, so very, very simply, it's all done through email.
Yep.
Nothing too hardcore, and so email.
And how do you get the updates from your team if you all put them through one email?
Yeah, so they all come through Slack. So as a team, we communicate through Slack.
That's great. Okay, so if you think about that process of updating your shareholders, hopefully once a month, that's what you aim to do. If 0 was easy and 5 was super difficult, how would you place it on the scale in terms of how easy do you find it to update those shareholders?
I'd say probably 2.
And why do you say that?
I just think like carving out enough time to get the relevant information out there is tricky.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if the most difficult part of that process is finding the time, what's the easiest part or the bit you like most about the process?
The easiest thing is always to come up with the challenges, because that's something that's always forefront of mind. I think it's always good to be reviewing your progress, and when you're always updating someone else, that gives you the ability to think about what's happened, and you can maybe take stock of whether things have gone well or bad.
Yeah, so the challenges are at the front of your mind anyway, so they take less time to write down and update. So if you were thinking about your Drinkly investors and your shareholders, how many hours do you think you spend updating them? Say you were updating them once a month, you were putting together this email, you were asking for feedback from the team. How long does that process take you?
It should theoretically take us about 4 hours, I would say.
Great. And if you think of how satisfied you are with that process of updating those investors, with 0 being not at all and 5 being, yeah, you're pretty satisfied with the process, where would you place you guys?
Again, probably about 2.
Why would you say that?
I just think we could be way better at it. We should probably have better processes in place to do that.
So can I pick into that a bit more?
Sure.
Like, what do you wish if time, because we can't give you more time,
Yeah.
if time weren't a factor, what do you wish was just simpler about the process?
Probably a bit of structure, probably, I don't know, I'd have to give it a bit more thought.
We can circle back, that's all good. So if you think of your investors, and maybe the wider people you keep up to date, so your shareholders, if you think of them just as one particular group, can you give me a bit of an estimate as to how comfortable are you turning to them for advice? So if I were comfortable turning to advice to 100% of them, say that, where would you kind of put yourself in terms of being able to turn to that group as a whole?
I would say 50% of our investors are very engaged investors who are willing to talk and offer advice. 50% of our investors are extremely busy people, and trying to get conversations with them is really tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so what does engaged look like for you from your investors?
So engaged means that you could send someone an email or even send them a text message and you would get a response. Positively, we have some of those investors around. So as you can ask a question and you'll get an honest answer. Yeah,
that makes sense. And in terms of that availability, you spoke about asks. What kind of asks do you often come up with?
Generally things that are challenges that we face in a business. So an ask could be, we have a challenge. So let's say our challenge would be fundraising. Should we consider to raise money on through crowd investment, or should we consider raising money through angel investing? And our experienced investors would probably have a view on that. Could also be around simple things. So we're trying to put in place a share option scheme for employees. Then someone that's been through that process before, it's great to get their input.
That makes sense. Great. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I know I've just rapid fired questions at you with not a lot of background, but hopefully all will become clear during this week. So I'm really excited to share the product with you once we build it.
Cool. Amazing. Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.